webinar dashboard. Thank you all. Also,
Muted.
I want to just wait a couple of minutes as we have the remainder of our participants come on board. We got a big group today, really excited to see what you all want to talk about. Before we get started, if you have any specific items that you would like to discuss, what are you looking for out of this webinar? Here, I'll put up our agenda so you can, so those of you who are here. We're going to be talking a lot about, where SOS has come from as far as, our founding, what services we've really targeted and what we've been building, and how this affects you and what this means to the market. So a majority of our partners are moving into the managed service market, and we're going to be talking very specifically on how this helps you, take that next step as a managed service provider. We're going to go into the specifics of the partner program, what you get, deliverables, the competitive landscape, so you have an idea of who to go to, and then we'll give information out about how you can contact our partner specialists. So if any of you have any specific items that you'd like to talk about, please enter them now. Also, if you guys could all give me a quick, couple sentence thing. I'm new to an MSP. I've been a managed service provider for a couple months. For such amount of time, what are you looking to get out of this? And I'll make sure that we can, get to that. And at the end, we'll of course end in a Q&A where we can talk about any aspect of the program or the service, or the market for that matter. So thank you all for, looks like we got a lot of verification. Everything's looking good. So let me put you on hold for just another minute as the remainder come on, and then we'll get started. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our partners, our potential partners. My name is Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS. And today we're going to go through how our ServerSafe program is changing the game in cloud backup for business and how this affects your business and making money with your customers. So I've spoken before, if you have any specific items you'd like to cover, please go ahead and enter those items now. I got a good one from Bruce. He says, I'm completely new to this program and interested in how I can market it and make money. Perfect. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So if any of you have specific items, how does this work if I have a retail business, if I'm going towards students, specific industries, medical, legal, or just in general the managed service market, that's what we're going to be covering today. So today we're going to be going through again here the agenda, a basic overview of SOS, where we've come from, what we've done, what we're doing, and what we're going to do, and then the ServerSafe program. What do we mean when we say SOS ServerSafe? What does it mean to you being in the program? Why does it matter to you when you're talking about your customers? What's their benefit? What's the value of your customers if you have this service on board? We're going to go through the partner program specifically, what you get. We're going to go through the features and benefits of the different aspects of the program. New update with our new version 5.2 software, which we're really happy about having rolled out just a couple of months ago. And then competitive landscape, positioning. We're going to go through a quick demo, and then Q&A for whatever you guys want. Oh, great. It looks like for the most part we're looking at everyone looking to get into the managed service market with a couple. We got Eric, who's been an MSP for over 2 years now, so that's good. So we'd love to hear about that. So here on this slide, we have information about the general trend of how services are adopted. On the right-hand side, what's cloud backup all about? And we can actually kind of treat this as a timeline. If we really wanted to, we could put some dates down here at the bottom and kind of follow along where online backup is started. Let's start in 2001 with SOS. So SOS had rather humble beginnings, like a lot of tech startups, started in a dorm room, except rather than Silicon Valley, it was in Melbourne, Australia. We are an Australian-founded firm. From 2001 to 2005, the market really wasn't too ready and it had rather humble beginnings. It was really just kind of proof of concept, locally operated. In 2005, we made our launch to the world, specifically to the United States, but that's when we really started marketing in the US, the UK, etc. And that was really, if we look at this innovation adoption lifecycle graph on the right, that's where the innovators and the early adopters were. So the innovators, like 2004, or we start with us, 2001, 2006 or so, and 2005, 2006 was when we were awarded our first PCMag Editor's Choice Award for consumer backup service, and that was actually a beta. So that was really the beginning of the market. We won as a beta product. We've since have won 3 consecutive awards by PCMag and being their editor's choice for being both simple and secure. Oftentimes, security makes things a lot more complicated, and that's certainly true when we're talking about our development. But when it comes to usability, we've kept the simplicity despite the added security we have in the service. From 2006 to about 2009, we were kind of in the early adoption phase, and even through 2011. Early adoption was really found in the consumer realm, or individual users, the micro businesses. So we have, the adoption rate was really for those who have a low barrier to moving to a new service. So, consumers, they don't have anything in place before. The service is rather cheap, a couple $100 a year, and they can move into this. They didn't have any other system that they were replacing. It wasn't a big implementation plan. And even though it was consumer-based, the online backup market experienced a 33% growth year over year between 2009 and 2011. 2009, coincidentally, was when we launched our wholesale white label program. What we had before was a really light affiliate that you might expect. You sign up, you get a revenue share back for signing other people up. Now, we saw that the SMB market was really where we wanted to be. And at that time, it wasn't quite there, but we saw that getting into the SMB market was about really breaking into the newly emerging managed service market. Managed services is where everything's going. It aligns your goals with your customers' goals. Just make things work and don't bother me so much. Also, it takes you away from that break-fix relationship that was quite negative. If something doesn't work, the customer is not productive, then on top of that, they have to pay you to fix the downtime that they're currently experiencing. And so it's a negative relationship. You make money when they're losing money, rather than them paying you to keep things productive and active and more effective. So now we're entering the early majority phase where SMBs are now comfortable with the idea of online backup. It also means that a lot of their services that were expensive beforehand, a lot of tape systems, are expiring. They're coming up for renewal. Online backup, the big thing that's changed the adoption rate is faith in the security of the program, cost of online storage, and general savviness of your buyers. So we've seen all these things improve over time in our favor. And right now, the IDC is really looking at a growth of about 300%. So out of the current IT expenditures that SMBs have currently, the IDC is predicting that over the next couple of years, online backup services is going to increase from 1 to 3% of those expenditures. Now, 1 and 3 are small numbers, but that at 1%, it's $1 billion industry. So there's lots of money to be made in this. And that's where we're really moving. The IEC confirmed that currently only about 16%, and this is as of the end of 2011, that only about 16% of companies they surveyed had some sort of online backup in place. And for the most part, about 3/4 of those 16%, it was still a advanced trial phase, and they were waiting for other services to expire before moving into a majority implementation, or they were just finishing up the extended trial before moving into a much larger implementation. And then out of the companies that weren't using it, nearly 3/4 were planning on it. So not only are we looking at a huge change in the percentage of adoption, just business, like how many businesses are going to take on to this type of service, but the scope of adoption is going to increase as well. This is big, big money. Also, there's no data behind what managed service costs are going to be behind this type of service. So we were coming out of the SaaS model, right? Software as a service. SOS provides a software as a service to you, our partners. Our service is that we keep this software and the back-end services up to date. We make improvements and et cetera. There are updates to the software and service over time. That's our service to you. For you, to the customer, it's a managed service. So the managed service market is too new for figures to be accurately put on here. So this is the growth, 1 to 3%, without this major factor being included. And also because managed services by nature is a bundled service, so it's hard to separate the managed service cost overall, which is what many of you may have been thinking about, if not already. Maybe you're thinking about it now, or maybe you're already doing it in the case of Eric, because he's been on board for a while. Anyone familiar with that? For those of you that are charging managed service models, do you do managed services for groups of services, or is it an overall aspect? Give us a little information about how you're currently positioning services and their hard costs versus what management you'll have behind it, that value add. As those come in, we get some great questions, great comments. But price, functionality, and inflection point is really what we're looking at now as far as what the service offers. So the big part about managed service packages is that it is truly a full risk management plan. Now, no one's calling it risk management because risk management sounds terribly expensive and bulky and boring and unnecessary. But it is true. There are some studies that came out that actually showed that the majority of small businesses that went under over the last 5 years didn't go under because of a weak economy, which is the assumption that a lot of people throw out there. For the most part, there's a huge factor of businesses that simply didn't have any risk management, i.e. backup, in place. So trivial items like a server hard drive failing or crashing because it's old put these businesses out. And the conclusion that they had with certain doubt was that the reason there seemed to be an uptick in the lack of risk management plans in place is because while the economy was healthy, people could bounce back from these things a lot easier. So they stopped spending money on these continuity plans. Well, today, a brilliant thing has happened in the market. We don't call it risk management anymore. We call it business continuity. Business continuity services. It sounds productive. It sounds like you're an asset. You're not a cost center. This is something that's absolutely necessary. Not only is it going to help protect you in times of things going wrong, but it's also going to be a regular improvement of your productivity. And that's what we're all about today in managed service realm. And that's what SOS provides to you. We give you an end-to-end solution that provides you a way to back up and protect and access data from mobile devices. Do the same on individual laptops and workstations, whether or not they're on-site or traveling. We also give you the ability to protect your major application servers, your web servers, Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, etc. And all of this is available under one service package provided by one vendor, SOS. So what we've done is we've taken the complexity of having to go through, maybe 3 different vendors to get one backup solution in place, and now we have that whole solution. And when we say solution, we're talking about not just having one strategy in backup, an offsite backup that's file and folder, but also an offsite backup that is a volume image backup. Being able to initiate a cloud boot with our service. You call up SOS, you say, we need a cloud boot for the next 2 weeks. And we'll actually mount the image we have in the cloud on our server, provide you with a secure login, and then you can start redirecting things, for your web server or maybe an e-commerce server, something of that nature. So those sorts of things are, really what we're providing in this program. And as you all know, the service is just half the battle. Getting the service is the easy part. It's getting set up on the business end of things. Operationally, how do you collect support tickets? How do you collect money for this service? Do you have any web presence for this service? What kind of marketing information? We provide this for you. We have a very unique program with our web integration package. And again, it just speaks to our focus on the partner program as our primary business. This is the main way that we operate. It's our focus, always has been. We were finding that we have APIs available to develop against, so you can integrate into your own systems if you have them. But we were finding overwhelmingly that a lot of our partners didn't have the resources, whether contracted or in-house, to do any type of integration with APIs. But it was very valuable. And then we started seeing a couple partners who contracted this development out. We're just getting ripped off. We had upwards of about $15,000 from one development cycle. So what we did is we productized API integration. And we have this SOS web integration package, which we'll go through more specifically, but it includes integration into multiple different systems that you may find valuable. One of which, of course, is the SOS system. We've integrated into multiple merchant gateways, so PayPal, Authorize.net, eWay, and we're looking at currently a merchant gateway that operates a little better in South Africa, and we're always open to hearing about more gateways we should be looking into, but those are the most common. We've also integrated into a nice content management system, so you have a web-facing portion that lets you simply, with a visual editor, change the content that's customer-facing. So we have a lot of these things. There's a mass email functionality that's built into it for subscription emails, and again, we'll show that in the demo. But as we go through the different partner programs across the market, you really find that not only are we providing more backup strategies in our single program, but at a better rate and with better business support. So again, that web integration package is just unheard of in the market, and no one else has anything even similar to it. We have one of the largest global data center presences. So here below you at the bottom, you can see that we have data centers in the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, India, and Ukraine. And we're currently looking at adding a data center presence in South Africa. So those of you who have country-specific needs, anyone have customers where you need to have, say the data needs to reside in Canada only, or in the U.S. only? We got a couple. So no problem. All you have to do is let your partner specialist know, and that's how you'll be set up. No problem. So we go through, all right, what are we getting with the product suite? Well, this describes what SOS currently has and what we're building. Starting at about 1 o'clock, this is the stuff that we're really excited about with ServerSave. We used to recommend that our partners go to a third party like Zenith for image-based backups, so bare metal recovery type of strategies for system data and application data. Well, we've now included SOS Image Creator as part of our system. So you use Image Creator to protect your system data, protect your application data, SQL, Exchange, SharePoint, etc. Again, this stuff is now readily available, and you can take it off-site, as well as a really nice file and folder system for your file servers. File servers, it's not often that you need any of the system data, you just need access to the files. But we give you both strategies. Very nice to do. Moving right along to about 7 o'clock, we back up your mobile life. So we've released mobile applications, and you have a mobile portal that you can use on almost any mobile device to access and share backup data. So you can search through your backup set, you can preview it depending on the browser, or you can send a secure email link to yourself or to somebody to recover that data. So you're at a business lunch, or you're in a commute, going across town, and one of your customers needs to get an invoice sent out. So, or they need a product sheet or an instruction guide. No more do you have to wait and say, oh, let me get back to my desk and I'll send it to you. Pull out your phone, search through your backup set for guide, and then hit share, enter the email address, hit send, you're good to go. Desktop life. One of the biggest points of failure in any system is the user, and that's because people make mistakes. We're imperfect, that's why we're all in business. So the user level strategy and backup is a tough one to tackle. Our system, being simple and secure, PC Mag Editor's Choice Award for their consumer backup rating, means that you can also put this in place at every workstation and laptop. Increase your restore point and time objectives for your users by giving them all individual backup accounts. You're really adding in a sophisticated but easy to implement strategy and backup there. Again, TechCrunch reviewed a study that came out that showed that in risk management, one of the biggest holes that's still unaddressed is the user. And still, in most businesses, about 60% of a business's data still resides in a user's workstation or laptop, not centralized in the server. Despite our efforts with terminal services and everything we try to do there, it's just you can't beat users figuring out ways to do things differently. So a real simple way to do that. Then at the top, we have backup your cloud life. Again, more and more services are going to the cloud, but those cloud services are not built for backup. So many Facebook accounts are lost every day, as well as Twitter and Gmail. Their data centers have outages, and you lose a lot of information. Every time there's a global event, like the Olympics coming up, the Twitterverse seems to shut down, you lose your followers, and more these cloud services are default items that you set up for your business. This is actually something that we're still working on. It's not yet available for our partners, but maybe over the next couple years as we make progress on it, it will be. So we really give you an end-to-end solution. And again, just the specific deliverables you get with the program. A question on some of the deliverables. Let's stop there for a minute. Sean asked, I see Gmail. Does this include Google Apps for Business? Well, right now, none of that's available. It's something that we worked on. We have Facebook built out, but we're back at the drawing board to see how we want to really make this product work. And then once we really see this succeed, we're going to roll it out to our partners. So this will be in future instances. So right now, that's not available. So SOS Server Save, Exchange Backup and Granular Recovery. With a Server Save license, you don't need an add-on for Exchange Granular Recovery or backup. It just is available by default. And this is something that a lot of services charge a great deal amount for. And really the functionality with our program is so much greater than even those add-ons. So for example, with Backup Exec, you buy the Exchange Granular Recovery, or whatever they call it, the granular plugin, and if you haven't programmed your backup to be granular recovery ready, then it doesn't matter that you have the add-in because your backup's not ready for it. And it's not that intuitive. You have to go through some advanced folders and features, yada, yada. And we have a lot of partners come to us because of that very reason. There's also not a very strong search function, and there's no preview function. So we'll show you in our demo. You can search through your entire Exchange database for a specific attachment or email, and then you can preview to verify that that's the correct one. Bare metal image creator. This is, again, it's a volume-based backup program. So you select a Windows volume, and it's going to create a backup for it. Very powerful, very simple. Lets you restore either with a boot disk technology from scratch, or lets you restore as a virtual drive. We'll show you that. Online Backup or Recovery Manager. This is our bread and butter. This is what we've been doing since 2001. This is the program where you point the files, you point the program to the files that you want to take off-site, and it takes it off-site in a very secure manner. 256-bit AES encryption before the files are transferred. They're transferred over 128-bit SSL, and stored at an additional 1024-bit AES. So, and then the data centers, we replicate the data between multiple data centers, all of which are Tier 3 and 4 rated. The only time you don't get the data center duplication is if you have a country-specific need. So if the data has to stay in Canada, then you only have one data center present. But we still have RAID configurations and backup strategies at each data center location. So not to worry there. Then the Premier Web Integration. Again, this is a tool that we provide our partners so that if you don't have the resources to get behind API integration, that we give you this tool that really streamlines your path to market. So, it gives you the ability to simply plug in your authorized .NET or PayPal Pro credentials, change the pricing plans that are available on your website, and all of a sudden you're available to start collecting money for backup accounts. Very simple. The mobile applications, we do have a generic iPhone application that's available. If you search the application store for managed offsite backup, you'll see it pull up. Unfortunately, Apple did require that we publish under SOS Technologies or SOS Online Backup. We couldn't do it generically. The Droid application, we will have a Droid application generically branded in the next couple weeks here as well. And of course, we always have the mobile version of the portal. So if you go to m.managedoffsitebackup.net, then your customers can log in from almost any mobile browser, search through their backup set, recover, and share data. Good question here from Gilbert. Is Exchange Online included here as well? Yes, absolutely. So we'll show how that works. But we've separated the image creator or the image-based backup system from the online system because it is a two-step system, and you should have both local and off-site image backup strategies as well as local and off-site file and folder backup strategies. And so while a lot of companies give you a built-in online backup for certain items, it really kind of skips the point of what is a true solution. So we give you all the tools to get a true solution in place, and it's no cheap trick, and it's going to be a lot better. We'll show you that in a little bit and get more detailed into that. So here we have a little competitive information. So Carbonite and Mozy were the ones that we really competed against heavily for most of our existence. So up until November of last year when we added ServerSave, we were always the most secure and a true business solution for online backup, which is where we always beat out these two companies. Faster, more secure, what else do you need? But when we went to a total business backup solution, including the ServerSave technology, we just stopped competing with these two directly. These two now only reflect a portion of the services we offer and not the whole package. And we've added a whole other level of competitor here with companies like Zenith, Intronis, and eBall. And what's interesting about this is that until we launched ServerSave, we literally would recommend our partners partner with one of these other companies for the image-based backup solution. And it was because of that familiarity with these programs that we were able to build this program to be a lot better than them. So we don't require that you purchase hardware with a lot of these companies, Dado, Zenith, etc. It's $1,000 to $2,000 wholesale cost just for the hardware to even start talking about what you want to do for a backup strategy. We're not doing that to you. We're not going to force hardware down your throat. We certainly have recommended hardware configurations when it comes to taking images off-site. And again, we go into that in our technical details training every week. We'll go with that for the demo a little bit as well. But we are a software company, and software as a service is what we're providing. So we're out here to give you a program, again, an end-to-end solution that's going to be price disruptive. So not only are you going to be able to charge less than a lot of the competitors would be charging, but your margin will be the same, if not higher, than what you're doing that. So we find that our typical packages are going to our customers for a 200 gig file and folder backup system with our 200 gig cloud account with one server license. A lot of our partners are charging between 130, which is our recommended retail rate, just for using the software. But when it comes to the managed services behind it, is up as much as $300 a month for that setup. And we'll go through that in more detail. So version 5.2, what are we really excited about with version 5.2? Well, we rebuilt the entire code base. And those of you familiar with software development, that's no small task. It takes a lot of time, and it's something that happens every few years with those software companies. Is you build something out, and then over time you realize, okay, well we're going to rebuild the code base better than we did before. And every few years, every 3 to 5 years, that will happen with a good software company. And this just happened this spring with us. So our speed tests that you see on our website, we're done with our old code base, and we were already much faster. With the new code base, we've tested it as being 40% faster than what that happened. So it's really quite amazing. And also the recovery is just dramatically improved, and the recovery functionality of our new software client, one part is much faster, but two part can just handle bigger loads. There are very few companies in the market, if any, who can handle backup sets with more than 1 million files in them. You go to recover it, it just kind of times out. We actually just had a customer with a 15 million file backup set. We hit refresh, and in 15 minutes, they had access to start recovering data from that. And that is really a pretty epic improvement from just not being able to do it at all. And again, that's not just us. That's a market-wide limitation when it comes to those large file sets. So, I'm going to go ahead and open up a remote session here to Server 2008 box. And as I do that, I just want to ask, what kind of questions do we have so far? Anything about the software, about the program? How does it sound? I'm going to load up a Server 2008 box. Eric says, looks good, need to get my hands dirty with it. Absolutely. So right now I'm going to switch over to just look at this remote session. All right, everyone's seeing this remote session okay now? You should be just seeing the new plane backup. Good. Okay, perfect. So as you might notice on the desktop, we have a rebranded client on here, as is part of our program. So right now what I'm doing is I'm logging into ServerSave. ServerSave describes a suite of services. So this is a wrapper application that contains the different tools we provide to you to have a full backup solution for your customers. So ServerSave has, right now we're looking at the application tab, and we have first online backup and recovery. This is our bread and butter software. Again, we're going to take files and put them off site, and we're also going to be able to recover them from the SOS cloud. Bare metal image creator. This is the image-based backup and recovery tool. So if you need to, mount an image as a virtual drive or restore a machine, this is where you would come for that. Once you have the file locally, so this operates locally, this operates off-site. Exchange granular recovery. You recover an EDB file, then you want to get down and dirty into the details, specific files and folders, messages, contacts, calendar items. You use this tool. So this is how all this works. We have workstation backup listed here. and most of you will just see these first three, but we've listed workstation backup separately only to describe the functionality that we recommend. The workstation backup and the online backup and recovery manager are the same application, but it's just to hammer that point home that not only does having a workstation or a user level backup strategy help you plug some holes, but it helps really turn your restore point objectives a lot better, because you can run workstation backups every hour and it doesn't bother anything. But your server-based backups, you need to protect those production resources, and you may run it only every night. So that means you have an exposure of 24 hours versus 1 hour. So that's why we recommend that so much. So going through bare metal image creator, we open this up. I'm going to go to backup jobs. Okay, good, nothing's here. We have the wizards tab for creating a backup, restoring from a backup and with a boot disk, or restoring a backup in a virtual drive, which is probably going to be one of the more common items. We have a Windows disk map volume manager. This is really something that you don't need to use too often. Most of this is done through the wizard. Backup jobs, you can see a list of backup jobs. You can edit those jobs or launch them. Destinations, same thing as the Windows volume manager or the disk map. You don't really need to utilize this too much. It's pretty much handled in the wizard. Backup history, again, just tells you that what happened. These are logs. And very clear language, so if we go here and see what's happening here, this is probably an event that says there's not enough space on the disk. There it is. So very clear English. Your destination path is full. Go empty it out. Very simple to do. So back to the wizard. Let's create a backup job. Create a backup job. And actually, before I get into this, let me pull back a little bit and show you what we have as an idea of what we recommend to use. So I'm going to go to our main website. I'm going to pull this over here. Everyone's seeing our main website front page. And this is good for those of you who want more detailed information. And for those of you who are going to be trialing the software, hit our support tab. And then you have live chat available if you have quick questions. But also we have this knowledge base. Come to the knowledge base. And if you go to the SOS Partner Program section, this is going to go through details about the admin settings and admin tools that you have available, the web integration package, how to set it up, how to use it, etc. And server save, well, you have the server save section. So first, server save guide. There it is. Next, we go to FAQ. We have how should I set up SOS in my environment, which is a good article, but also article listed as 11. Do I need a staging server for my machine or for my setup? This gets into if you want to, this is our recommended backup strategy. So we have the three applications, Image Creator, Online Backup and Recovery, and then really kind of mobile application. But Image Creator, you install this directly on your web server, file server, mail server, database server, any machine that you want to take an image of. If you want to image a specific volume on these things. And again, these could be virtualized machines or physical machines. It doesn't matter. You need a license per machine, whether it's physical or virtual. In your local network, you're going to point the destination path for this image to a local machine. And we recommend this because it's good to have a backup server in place or a staging machine. So you run all your backups to this one machine, because they could be large, especially if we're talking about images. And then from this machine is where you have the online backup recovery installed, and that's where you upload the data. The reason we have this is to protect the production resources on your web file, mail, and database servers, or whatever machine you're talking about. Because there are local procedures that go in place with the encryption and compression we're doing on the data, as well as uploading. So you can, from your domain manager or domain controller, you can manage, and throttle the staging machine Also, the staging machine can be used as a terrific restore point. So, for instance, in our office here, we went, and I think we only spent about $700 or so, and we just got a Windows 7 box, not a server, but we loaded it up with 6 terabytes of hard drive space, 12 gigs of RAM, and it's got a 8-core processor on it, and the thing's real fast. So what it allows us to do is, if we need to recover a volume, we can split this into a VM or mount a VM on it, and then recover that volume, or recover that image as a virtual drive. So it gives us that nice point. It just helps. So essentially, this is our local backup strategy, is with this type of setup. From this local backup option, we go off-site. And then all of our users have the online backup and recovery installed directly on workstations and laptops that go directly off-site. So this is how we have our backup strategy. And then the mobile, of course, is separate, and it goes off on its own. So if you need to recover, of course, you just install the software anywhere you want, anywhere you can. You can recover back down from the cloud, and it just depends on that. But this gives us a really nice strategy in backup. Does this make sense to everyone? Pretty clear? Pretty similar to what's going on? Eric has a great question. In the event of the server fails, can the VM image on the staging machine be turned on and users access the VM just as they would the physical server? Absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole point. Is what you're doing here is you're putting together a full backup solution. Now, again, the difference is some people may ask, well, you said earlier you don't make us buy hardware, but you're saying right here that there's hardware involved. That's right. I'm not going to pigeonhole you into buying a $1,000 or $2,000 box that you think, well, I could build a better one for a lot less. Go build a better one for a lot less. And then this is just a recommended strategy. So this is what you would want to do there. You got a question about imaging desktops. While that's not a standard item for delivery at this point, it is in our roadmap. Talk to your partner specialist, as we can make some light exceptions if you have an environment where you do want desktop licenses. But it's not part of our smooth system right now. So it'll be a little different, but it is doable. We're probably going to make it a really simple option to implement probably in about 2 to 3 months. But it is doable now. Eric asks, what is the retention policy on the staging server? Well, in the demo, we're going to see that it's completely up to you to set that. Wayne asks, do you back up Mac workstations as well as PCs? Hey, Wayne, that's a great question. I totally forgot to mention Mac, and we're very excited about it. It's been a year in development. We're just now getting out of beta. We just released our non-beta version of the Mac client. So you can see that on our download page. If you go to SOS Online Backup, go to the bottom, go to Download SOS. And when you're trialing it out, try it out. So we got version 2.0. It works on, I believe, 10.6 and above. And it's a first generation non-beta Mac client that we have out. And we are generically branding it as we speak, and the current schedule for having this available to all of our partners is going to be next Monday, so the 11th. But when you're trialing, be sure you scroll down to the bottom and you get the partner versions of our products, so ServerSave as well as the 5.2 Online Backup and Recovery Manager. These are going to be what you're using, so you want to make sure that these are the ones you're using, not up here. So good question, Wayne. Thank you. Okay, so this is your backup strategy, and again, belt and suspenders approach. You can do all this under one vendor, SOS, and it's going to be a mix of rebranding and also for some of our mobile applications and for the Mac, generically branded applications that you can use. All right, everything clear on this? I'm going to go back to our demo. Gilbert says, kind of sexy, actually. Thanks, Gilbert. We think so, too. Eric has a follow-up. Our desktop files staged on staging machine as well, or do they go directly to the cloud? If you're just doing a file and folder backup from workstations, then do directly from the workstation. But if you plan on doing an image of that machine, then one, you want that image to be available locally, first and foremost, because images are large, and you want the option to restore locally first. The cloud should be secondary. So yes, if you're doing an image of a desktop, you want that to be sent to a staging machine, and then from the staging machine, you can send it off-site to our service. That way you have both. And you can set that all within the backup client. That's correct. So here we go. Let's create a backup job, and we'll see what's going on here. So let's create a backup next. Here are all the volumes you have here. System reserved, of course, is something we wouldn't need for restoration. It's something that is created when you restore a machine. So we would just select, our Exchange volume, which is the demo volume here, or multiple volumes. I always recommend that you keep volumes separate. You should never have a C drive that has 500 gigs on it, and that includes your system data, your application data, your Exchange data. It's going to complicate and elongate your recovery cycle. You should be putting these different things on virtual drives or even virtual machines, and you should be separating them so that your recovery and backup strategy is simpler and more specific. What's the point of having to download, a 30 gigs worth of system data if that's inconsequential and all we need is the Exchange database that, well, in this case it's 5 gigs, but we know it's not typical, but I think you all understand what I'm saying. So I'm just going to select the Exchange volume. Then we select the path. Where we go? Network location. This is where you determine the staging machine location right here. For this demo purpose, I'm just going to go to the F drive. So then you have the schedule. This is a typical schedule for image-based backups, but not for our system because our system is more advanced than that. You don't need to be managing things like you did old tape systems. The recommended path is continuous incremental. You'll notice that if you do continuous incremental, you won't have retention policies on the staging machine because that's not how it works. The continuous incremental means I'm going to run one full backup, and then I'm just going to run incrementals until you tell me to run a full again. The reason we do it this way is because our recovery method does not change and does not become more or less complicated with more incrementals or less incrementals. Doesn't matter. And as you run each incremental, it's self-healing. So it's really nice. So this system, what it's going to do is it's going to run an incremental for every hour to your staging machine. And that's it. So you may have a backup job that has, 60 incremental files within the first week. That's awesome. That gives you a much more specific restore point objective, which is to when can you restore your systems. That's your exposure essentially. If you're running only one incremental a night, your exposure is 24 hours, or essentially 48 hours if that incremental fails. So this is what we recommend. You go next, and we're running short on time, so I'm going to try to zip through this. If you have any questions, please ask them. And all of you who have asked questions already are entered into our Kindle drawing, but those of you who have not asked a question will not be entered. So ask a question, and then you can call a partner specialist, and they'll make sure that you're confirmed. So here we go. Compression method, none, standard, high. Your recommendation, standard is fine. We haven't seen a whole lot of time difference if you use with the compression method here. You can encrypt the data locally as well. You're required to do this for HIPAA compliance. So you have to encrypt data local. You have to encrypt local backups at 128-bit SF or AES. So you get the advanced option, go to encryption. You select that, and that's for your U.S.-based healthcare companies. You also notice that previously we had VSS enabled. VSS doesn't like being touched by multiple things. VSS is a Microsoft Volume Shadow Service. VSS is something that allows us to run backups of open databases. Almost all SQL databases that are built in the last couple of years have VSS enabled on them with a VSS writer, which means when we run a backup, we're going to do a transactionally consistent backup, meaning rather than just taking a snapshot and possibly losing data because there are processes in transaction that won't be recorded as queued or as finished, they'll just be lost. It means that we're cool. So it says, hey, database, you doing something? Can you finish up what you're doing and don't start anything else? Database says, sure, no problem. This is all through VSS. We take a snapshot, we're good to go. For those older databases, some of you still running some of those old Mass 90 accounting programs. Maybe you need like a Windows 95 emulator to even run these things. If not, you're on green screen. You can do pre-snapshot, post-snapshot, post-backup commands. So pre-snapshot, shut down database. And that way you stop all the transactions. We'll take a snapshot. Once the snapshot's over, it'll start it up again. Snapshots take milliseconds. So this is all happening in seconds. Starting up and shutting down your database depends on your database and your system. And that's it. Generate MD5 file. This is a self-healing thing, so that's really nice. It just does it automatically for you. Also, splitting images, nice for better performance. And we go over that more in detail, but because it doesn't matter if you have more incrementals or more files, because the system is intelligent, and I'll show you how intelligent in a minute, you can split the files into smaller chunks, say 10 gig chunks or 20 gig chunks, because when you're talking about online backup and recovery, having many small files is much better than one large file. It's a much better experience and performance. So we hit next, summary, we hit finish, great. So now let's go to online backup. We hit online backup. Now we've just scheduled that first image-based backup to the staging machine. Now we're going to schedule those images on the staging machine to go off-site. Oh, excuse me. I'm having some issues with my account here, which is great. And again, you know, this is a rebranded software. Let's try my personal account. Perfect. So here's my personal account. Again, this is somewhat more advanced branding we're doing testing on. So your branding is not this specific. Your branding will include the image down here and the product name up here. But we will be adding this banner that you can change eventually as well. And we'll show you the dashboard at the end for those of you who want to stick around. So you get backup. Let's set up an online backup. So we go to this. It's going to come to our scanner. So it's going to scan our system for documents, images, music, and video files, the common types. And you have these little information items to do that. Also, you can go to custom. So you can specify specific folders to ignore, to include, to exclude files based on file type or size. Real nice flexibility here so that you can quickly see, you know, what do you need to protect on this machine. So Sean asked, do you have any tools that we can run at the client side to help evaluate? Right here, built into the program, is a scanner. So we have, okay, I'll say do not scan. I'm just going to use the Windows tree view. Show me all the common files and folders, and then all the drive letters it sees. So the F drive is where I was pointing all my backups. So I would say, okay, I'm going to back up all this stuff. All right. I don't actually want to back up these items on my personal account, so we'll just get a document. Sure, I'll get this INI file. Hit next. Then you have a schedule. So this is where you back up you set your schedule for your backups. You want to make sure that your schedule for online backup is done or is running after the incrementals have run, of course. So you only want to run this maybe once a day. Your incrementals for image-based systems may be, maybe upwards of 1 to 2 gigs per day, if that. Usually not that big. And then your file and folder is even smaller. So for workstations, individual users, like my personal laptop, I run it every 2 hours, and that's because it takes no time at all to run. It may back up a handful of files. um, every subsequent backup. The initial backup, however, you definitely want to do it nightly because you're going to be backing up a lot of data first, and it's a front-heavy service. Once that initial backup is done, though, man, this thing flies. You're going to be good to go. And for your servers, it depends on your environment. It depends on how you can evaluate available bandwidth, if you're using a staging server or not, how quick your machine is, and those types of things. We have an option here to run at the back of the wizard, run automatically, which is on the schedule through the Windows Task Scheduler, and then run even when Windows user is not logged on. So if you're in a Windows domain environment, you want to make sure you're entering your Windows domain credentials. This will ensure that if you're backing up data from a map drive, that you'll actually be able to get it. So our whole system is based on your Windows user permissions. So we don't have limitations like a lot of services do, where you say, oh, you can't back up external drives, you can't back up network drives, you can't back up map drives. This is only for local machine. That's not SOS. As long as the user has access to push and pull data, we think you should have access to back it up. So there you go. So you daily, you put in an email report, you put in your email address, whatever you want to do. And then the email reports are going to give you a summary of, what didn't change, what did change, how many files backed up, and how much data that accounted for. And if any files didn't back up, how many, how much data did that account for, and also a list of the specific files and the reason why it didn't back up. That way you can go in and fix it. So we hit finish, and now it's scheduled running a backup. So let's go to restore. So I go to restore. Let's say I need to get some data back. This is going to refresh real quickly here, and it's going to give me bold dates next on this calendar to show me when I have backups that I can go back to. And again, we have unlimited version history. And our retention is unparalleled in the market. We never remove data from the server based on age or version number or anything. The only time data is removed from your online backup set is if the user or whoever has access to the backup account goes in, selects a specific file or folder, and hits delete. So there is no auto purging of information. Now this is the first time I've installed this account on this machine, so it's currently refreshing everything from the start, and we'll see how quickly that goes. Subsequent recoveries would be a lot faster because it would have some of that metadata stored locally on the machine as well, in a hashed database. Okay, I got a couple questions here. Eric asks, is there an admin console that would allow you to create backup sets for machines remotely? I'm looking for a solution so I don't have to touch each machine individually. It's a great question. We actually just rebuilt that whole functionality. So with the release of our version 5, our remote monitoring, management, and control, we've restarted rebuilding it, and we'll show you the dashboard currently, but that is not currently available, but it will be in the next weeks. So actually, literally in the next 2.5 weeks, we're going to have the ability to change backup policies and schedules, and then every 2 weeks, we're going to be adding new remote monitoring and management functionalities. So it's currently part of the release of this new code base. So we rebuilt the client software, the upload agent, so it's much faster, more effective, more efficient. We rebuilt the server-side technology as well, and that just finished up really in April. And now that we've done that, we're rebuilding all of our management and monitoring and reporting tools. So we're very excited about where this is going to go and exactly that goal. We want to give you all the ability to work smart, not hard, right? So that's what we're looking for. So look at the powerful recovery here. So I'm going to click back. I'm going to go back a couple of years. Let's go to 2010. Sure, I'll go to December, see what's going on. December 22nd, 2010. What did my account look like? All right, I got 3 machines on here from 2 years ago. All right, and I can go through and look at the data. Let's go back, and I'll say, okay, let this take me to today. We'll go next. Now you can see how many machines I have. I have my iPhone. I have another iPhone, so I'm from 4 to 4S. I got my iPad. Tons of different machines I backed up data from. So there we go. You see the flexibility in that, and really quite nice. If I go to, let's see if I can go to a couple items that might have some good versions that we can show you. What do I got here? Here. So here we have a direct proposal document, and I have so many versions of it, and I get a date and a timestamp and a size, and I can take this out, and so I can see all the information. So I can recover back to the very specific version I want. So that's really nice. I can just select an entire folder to recover, whatever I want. So let's say, okay, let's get this direct proposal, hit next. This is going to ask me to recover. So let's say I just recovered a bunch of the image-based backups to some location, or I had them available. Let's get back to that point. So I open up Windows Manager or Windows Explorer. I don't even need to open up the software. So let's say I recover this data to drive F. So I go to drive F, scroll down, let's see, backup job. This one has a lot. Backup job 4, we're on 42, incremental 42. I right-click, I hit Quick Mount. And then we're going to sit here for a second, and then what it's going to do is it's going to create a new virtual drive based on this incremental. So there we go. You saw that virtual drive K we just created. Now it's launching me into virtual drive K. I just recovered from that image. Right-click, restore. How awesome is that? So in your staging machine, it's beautifully quick like that. Question Laura has, staging server is recommended. Is it required, or is it possible to go directly online? Laura, it's possible to go directly online, but it's a best practice. When you're talking about the nonlinear processes that we're going through with encryption and compression on the local machine, that's a lot of local system resources you're using. Not just, this isn't an FTP. It's not that simple. This is a secure, serious backup service. We have our own proprietary transfer protocol. So we're doing a lot. So you want to make sure that when you're running backups that you're not affecting productivity for your users. If you're just taking flat file systems like documents and things that people work on every day, you can take that offsite directly, no problem. You may see a slight effect during the initial backup, the subsequent, no problem. The staging machine is truly recommended for image-based backups offsite. So this backup just failed because my drive is full. We already saw that earlier. But real simple language to tell you what's going on. Eric, yes. Eric wants to know, to confirm, nothing is ever deleted. Your versions are unlimited. Absolutely. We are going to be adding in the ability to program file retention policies online for image files. So for normal files, probably not ever, but for image-based files, some people just want them they want them removed after 30 days or something. We'll give you the ability to do that eventually. But right now, the only retention policy that you would ever need to set is locally. Online, we store versions for free. So you saw that version of the file I had like 12 different versions. Let's say it's 1 gig for every version. I don't need 12 gigs used in my backup account. I only have 1. Our service only counts the biggest version of a file as what's used against your backup account. So again, the unlimited versioning per file is free. We don't count it against your storage, which is usually why you have retention policies, is to manage your available storage, whether it's physical and local or online. Our service, you don't need to do that. But with images, it's a little different because you would never have a version of an image because each image is unique. So we are going to be putting in some retention policies there. But with continuous incremental, that's really not even necessary. So okay, so that's how you can recover there. If we go through Veritable Image Creator again, if we went through the wizard for restore, hit next. Okay, let's select the backup job. You hit next. It's going to say, okay, this is some information about it. And say, hey, with this backup job, we recognize you selected incremental 50, but there are 55 incrementals. Select which one you want. You got a date and timestamp. Say, sure, I want the most recent one. Hit next. Pick a drive letter you want to mount to. You can do mount as read-only or read and write, your choice. Hit next. Then this is the incremental file chain. This is the simplicity of recovery. This is why It does not matter how many incrementals you have or if you split the files. It doesn't matter because it does not change your recovery process. You right-click and click mount, or you go through here and just select the one you want, and it will intelligently go through all the incrementals you need. You hit finish, bada bing, bada boom. Going to mount a virtual drive once again, this time a different drive letter, of course. And here we go. Now quickly, sorry everyone, we're going over time, but Exchange granular recovery. We pull this up. So we just recovered that Exchange database. So we're going to go to source. We browse for the EDB file, so computer, for the L drive that we just recovered, mailbox, EDB. And again, as part of our partner program, we have weekly tech and admin trainings where we deep dive into all of the programs. And it's going to give us the ability to do all these things. So let me see. It looks like my license was changed in the back end by somebody. So I'll just select that, close, hit OK. Let's see what I can do. No, it could be because I'm not in the proper online backup account. So let's go back to server save, and we'll re-download our server license real quickly. Standing as, is the product you're using for the demo the same product we would market to residential users? Yeah, we actually have a separate home product ourselves, which is a little different user experience. But this is a program for the online backup and recovery manager. So yes, you would use that same online backup and recovery manager for your residential users. Still just as simple, just as secure, and our version is really different for our own marketing purposes. Okay, looks like I'm having some issues authenticating that account, so I'm not sure what we're going to do here. Authenticate that account, and here we have it. So if I had a license for this account, which I don't, if I hit, it would ask me to purchase license because I don't currently have one. So it's going to send me to contact us. In your case, it would put you to your web integration package contact us page. So that's really nice to see. But let me see if we can get through this. We'll try again. Let's try mine. Well, it looks like I'm having some licensing issues on our demo here, so sorry about that. But the Exchange granular recovery is very simple, and if you want to come on board and take a video of one of our previous sessions, you can see that when it's, we're not having some demo issues. If you come to SOS for resellers, in our partner program, we do have recorded webinars that you can take a look at. So if you come here, recorded sessions, and we have some that we've done just this last week. And if you want more specific demos and information, you can try the EGR client yourself. Contact your partner specialist. Let me pull back up the presentation here. You can call your partner specialist at, let me get through this, at 877-896-3611, extension 1, if you don't already have one. And they'll be able to set you up with a trial of whatever you like. If you want to use the online backup system, if you want to use EGR, image creator, no problem. Go ask your partner specialist and they'll have that turned around for you, no problem. Also, our partner specialists, what they're going to do for you is they're going to go through not only the program like we did, but in a little more detail, but they're also going to make sure that this program is appropriate for you. You know, if you were to enter this program, would you make money? And if so, how much money would you make? Estimate, really doing kind of an undercut and a humble idea of your possible return on investment. Our emphasis on the partner program is our emphasis on your success. So we put all the features, the programs from the different services we've built out, to the features, to the web integration package, to make sure that you all going to make some money in this program. And the partner specialist's job is to make sure that you're entering the right program at the right level so that you can really optimize what you'll make with us. So again, here's the number on the board, and we're over time, so thank you all who got to go. For those of you who can stick around a little bit longer, we can go through the ServerSave dashboard a little bit more. So with ServerSave, this little box here signifies really where we were. Just with online file and folder online backup. Pretty condensed market, really saturated. When we move to ServerSave, we're now moving into the left side, which is the image-based backup system, which there aren't a lot of players, and there are few, if debatably, no other players who offer you the end-to-end solution. So, what program are you going to find that's going to offer, not on a service level, mobile to server backup and recovery strategies, but the web integration package no one offers. It's a completely unique item. And again, we also have our partner APIs for those of you who have development resources and want something a little more specific to your needs. Maybe you have your own partner portal already for your customers. Not a problem. We have our APIs and they're interchangeable. So you can use our APIs or use our web package. Let your partner specialist know what you're looking for, and they'll make sure that you're going to get in the right program. Economics and pricing. So some of our programs that we have available. A base program starts at $3.99 a month, and that gets you access to up to 1 terabyte of online backup space and 5 server seats. So what we do is we don't charge per seat for the cloud space. You can create really as many accounts as you like with that 1,024 gigs. And what you do is you just have the one server at what cost. So we divided it evenly. Let's say you have a 200 gig account with one server license. The cost for that is $80 for you in this program. And the suggested retail price with just providing the services, not providing managed services, just providing the software, $130 a month. So that gives you a pretty good margin. Most of our partners would be putting on, test recoveries, maybe a manual offsite. So your test recovery includes you keeping that data on your site. Other things, you have online programs in there, remote monitoring and management. What other items go behind your managed services? And it's really about bundling your managed backup solution as a standard part of your managed service package. And the reason this is such a popular program for new MSPs is because the managed backup solution is nearly the most fundamental managed service you could put in place. Not only does it serve you and your staff better by having better services in place, but it serves your customers better. It's cheaper than only having a break-fix relationship. Prevention and regular attention to items is much simpler than only paying attention to something if it starts making a lot of noise or if it's not working any longer. And then we have programs you can upgrade over time. Start off humble, then grow over time with your customers, and you can get down to as much as, instead of that $80 price per package, $36. And of course, this is with the assumption that it's all evenly distributed. So you may find that this isn't generally affected with all your customers, but this is the best that we could do to generally speak to what you're getting. So again, this is another environment we have available. So if you have the knowledge base section that we looked at, this is just kind of a look into the back end and how it, and the general setup for your typical customer environment with a better look into the SOS cloud configuration. So that's a nice diagram you can go through there. Again, same type of thing. How do you set up your image-based backup strategy with the online backup? Managing the caching with the system, which is important. What type of processes are you running locally? So you have to be aware of, what kind of resources you need available. Why wouldn't you want to run an online backup of an image from your production web server? Those sorts of things. Any other questions for those of you still on board? Good group today. Most we had hardly anyone drop off, even though we went 20 minutes over. So that's got to say something good, right? Eric says it looks good. So again, this program is designed for you all to get in board, make some money, and really have a simple relationship that has a fast level of service that you can provide. So if you have any questions, contact your partner specialist. Again, my name is Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS, and we look forward to seeing you on board in the program. So thanks. Have a good one.